My name is Caroline Alfred, and I am your host.
I don't love nagging men.
I think if Ed Sheeran is not at my wedding, I may leave the wedding.
So if I'm meeting somebody, I would like that person to...
Every lady out there would like a level-headed man.
What does love mean to you? Spinsters and bachelors get to meet themselves on a blind date, get to know each other better, and get into relationships that would culminate into marriage eventually.
Now to our first paper for the morning. We have amongst the headlines in the Nigerian News Direct. This one here says, to strike. NANS threatens to truncate presidential primaries. Political activities in T. Anybody of the Nigerian News Direct. And next we have arrested internet fraudster in Lagos. EFCC arrests 18 suspected internet fraudsters in Lagos. That's on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct. And lastly, in the Nigerian News Direct for today, we have 2023. I am loyal to President Buhari and APC, according to Amechi. That's on page 2 of the Nigerian News Direct. Okay, taking you straight now to our next paper for this morning. If you want more headlines on, you want more information, more details on those headlines you heard, do get a copy of the Nigerian News Direct for yourself. Okay, amongst the headlines in the Daily Sun for today, this one here says, APC okays automatic Senate tickets for outgoing governors. APC okays automatic Senate tickets for outgoing governors. NWC yet to decide, according to spokesman. That's on page 26 of the Daily Sun. Next, we have in Daily Sun, Charles Umba Ebuka Okafor upbeat about the Sun Award. Charles Umba Ebuka Okafor upbeat about the Sun Award. That's on page 6 of the Daily Sun. We have next here 2023 Labour task INEC security agencies on free fair polls. Labour task INEC security agencies on free fair polls. That's on page 27 and 29 of the Daily Sun. We have next here in the Daily Sun, Nigeria signs agreement with Cuba on vaccine production. Biopharmaceutical products. That's on page 3 of the Daily Sun. And lastly, in the Daily Sun for today, this one here reads, PDP uncertainty over Anyim Obi Others Alliance. That's on page 26. Page 28, I beg your pardon, of the Daily Sun. Okay, taking you straight now to our next and last paper for this morning. We have amongst the headlines in the Punch, subsidy deductions hit states hard. Governors owe salaries. Workers lament. Subsidy deductions hit states hard. Governors owe salaries. Workers lament. That's on page 2 of the Punch. And next in the Punch, we have over 50 companies shut down over forex prices, according to investigation. That's on page 33 of the Punch. And next in the Punch, we have Indian expatriate hangs self in Lagos office. Police begin probe. That's on page 4 and 5 of the Punch. Next, we have in the Punch, Osibanjo gets high presidential survey rating. Tinubu's group disagrees. That's on page 8 of the Punch. And on page 22 of the Punch, we have Lawan, other northerners to join APC presidential race. Lawan, other northerners to join APC presidential race. Okay, and lastly, in the Punch for this morning, we have blackout hits CBN, Army headquarters, others. Disco blames vandals. That's on page 37 of the Punch. I'll go again. Blackout hits CBN, Army headquarters, others. Disco blames vandals on page 37 of the Punch. Okay, that's the much we can take on today's segment of the newspaper review. Right about now, it's time for us to move to our discussion segment. But before we do that, we'll go on a quick break. And when we come back, we'll take you straight to our discussion for today. Do stay with us. We'll be right back after the short break.
Have you registered for your permanent voter's card? I mean, your PVC. There is a Nigeria we all seek, a place where love, peace, security, and unity can reign supreme.
Waste no time. We want a country where peace and justice will be the order of the day.
Unfortunately, there's a problem. One big challenge this generation has to solve.
Our country cries for help every day. We need able and capable hands to lead and direct.
These capable hands can be you. Have you gotten your PVC? Have you registered for the ongoing voting process? Don't say your vote does not count. Yes, it does.
Have you gotten your PVC? Your apathy towards Nigeria's electioneering process will further inhibit our collective growth and development as a nation. Your refusal to participate and engage will keep us at a standstill. So be intentional.
I have my PVC. Your votes, your voice would go a long way in preventing absolute destruction of this country and the future of our children, the hope of tomorrow.
The 2023 Nigerian elections are just around the corner. Go out and get heard. Don't forget, your vote, your voice.
This message is proudly brought to you by Thav Media Limited. Okay, you're welcome back from that short break, and joining me in today's discussion segment is Mr. Victor. Mr. Victor, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. George. Mr. George, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. George and Mr. Victor, NANS are threatening to truncate presidential primaries and, of course, political activities in the Federal Capital Territory. I don't know what you make of this particular headline.
I see it as a welcome idea because it will build pressure to the federal government, because the federal government are the ones ruling, and they have the APC there. I'm sure that it will affect APC, and anything that affects APC affects the federal government, and they will put their house in order and make sure that our students go back to school.
Okay. So, Mr. George?
To me, it's a welcome development. In our normal saying, they say, Konima die, Konima be buried. So the truth is, that's the only way out for them, knowing fully well that when this disrupts their activity, especially knowing that they have a deadline to their primaries.
Okay.
If it affects their primary, they know it will affect their primary. So because of that, I believe they will do something.
And there's also a news here of the federal government appealing to striking unions in universities to embrace dialogue. Do you see this working out? Because over the years, ASU has been dialoguing with the government, and we haven't really gotten anything tangible from the dialogue we've been having over the years. So do you see anything good coming out from this particular dialogue the federal government is proposing?